I'd like to welcome all of you to 1111's issue 15 release party. I'm super happy that all of you are here and to show. Yay! Just in the nick of time. Come sit down, Maisha. Okay. So, for those that don't know, 1111 is a biannual publication published through the MFA Writing Program at California College of the Arts. And what that means is that 1111 is the work of classes of mostly CCA and MFA writing students with some MA Viz Crit students sprinkled in, curatorial practices students sprinkled in as well, and occasional fine arts people sprinkled in too. We like to sprinkle people in. Hey, come in, Lena. So, the magazine is the work, cumulatively, of many, many people working really, really, really hard. And I just want to give a shout out to all the people that helped produce issue 15. Natalie, Colin, Autumn, Candace, Ryan, Lisa, Kate, Vanessa, Erica, Sam, Tanika, Alicia, and Susan. Thank you very much. You guys did an awesome, awesome job last year and produced a really gorgeous magazine. And I also want to thank the staff from this semester who are doing their best to fill some really big shoes. Andrew, Maureen, Micah, Candace, Katie, Charlie, Zach, Nelson, Nora, and Emma. Thank you all very much for all your hard work. Keep up those solicitations. So what I'll do is we'll read the introductions for the writers, and then they will come up and they will read their pieces, and we will have a good time. And thank you all very much. So our first reader is Andrew Joron, and he is the author of Trans-Archive, New and Selected Poems from City Lights. Joron's previous poetry collections include The Removes, Fathom, and The Sound Mirror. The Cry at Zero, a selection of his prose poems and critical essays, was published by Counterpath Press in 2007. From the German, he has translated the literary essays of Marxist utopian philosopher Ernest Bloch and The Perpetual Motion Machine by the proto-dada futurist, fantasist. Words are giving me trouble today. Fantasist Paul Shearbart. Joron lives in Berkeley, California, where he theorizes using the theremin. Deborah Bussman is co-director of the Creative Writing and Social Action Program at CSU Monterey Bay and is co-editor of Fire and Ink, an anthology of social action writing. Her work has been published in the LA Review, Social Justice, New Pedagogies for Social Change, and Women's Studies Quarterly 26, Working Class Lives and Cultures. The Book of Bad Men is from her forthcoming upcoming novel, Like a Woman, due to be published in February 2014. So we're so happy to be able to publish an excerpt from that book. Maisha Z. Johnson has an MFA in Poetry from Pacific University and a BA in Creative Writing from SF State, San Francisco State University. She explores the relationship between writing and social change on her blog, Inkblot, and leads arts and healing workshops with LGBTQ survivors of violence at Community United Against Violence. Lastly, our last reader is John Panzer. John, unfortunately, cannot be here tonight, but one of our staff, Maureen Burdock, will be reading his piece in his place. So this is John's bio. John Panzer is a former race car driver, fundraising professional, initiated disciple, homeless addict, and suffers the responsibility for losing the man he loved. Currently, John is an undergrad at UC Berkeley and serves on the City of Berkeley's Homeless Commission. His pieces of short memoir have been selected by many San Francisco journals and reading series. John was awarded the Samuel C. Irving Prize for American Wit and Humor for his piece, The Beautiful Hurt. So, without further ado, Andrew Joron.
Thanks, Hugh. I'm really happy to be here. Put this drink over here. Although I don't belong in any of the sprinkles that you mentioned. I'm like, different sprinkle. I'm going to start by reading three poems, not by myself, but by Philip Lamantia. I was one of the co-editors of the collected poems of Philip Lamantia that just appeared last month from University of California Press. And this guy, if you haven't heard of him, he was the greatest American surrealist poet. He died in '05. He was part of the cohort of the Beat generation. He hung out with Kerouac and Ginsberg. He was one of the people who read at the famous Six Gallery reading in 1955. But 10 years before that, he was like this prodigy, this teenage prodigy during World War II. He sent his poems to a surrealist magazine in New York. All the surrealists were there in exile during World War II. So at the age of 17, they not only published his magazine, but called him out to New York to join them. So I'm going to read a poem that was published in that View, that surrealist magazine. André Breton acknowledged, they thought he was like this American Rimbaud, and Breton acknowledged him as a voice that rises once in 100 years. I don't know what you all were doing when you were 17, but this is Philip Lamantia in 1945. I am coming. I am following her to the wavering moon, to a bridge by the long waterfront, to valleys of beautiful arson, to flowers dead in a mirror of love, to men eating wild minutes from a clock, to hands playing in celestial pockets, and to that dark room beside a castle of youthful voices singing to the moon. When the sun comes up, she will live at a sky covered with sparrow's blood and wrapped in robes of lost decay. But I am coming to the moon, and she will be there in a musical night, in a night of burning laughter, burning like a road of my brain, pouring its arm into the lunar lake. And as I mentioned, he read at the Six Gallery reading with the famous one where Ginsberg first presented Howl. He didn't read his own poems, though. He was going through a religious crisis, so he read the poems of one of his friends who died in Mexico. I'm just going to read a couple of Philip Lamantia poems. Here he is, by the way, in New York. But he started out as a surrealist, went through a Beat phase, and then he returned to surrealism at the end of his life. And City Lights published most of his books after the return to surrealism. So this is from his, hanging out with Ginsberg phase. It's called The Owl. I hear him, see him, interpenetrate those shadows warping the garden pathways, as the dark steps I climb are lit up by his eye, magnetic to the moon. His eye, magnetic to the moon. I have not seen him when windows are mute to whisper his name. On that moment, erroneous bats slip out through the sky. His lair conceives my heart. All hearts make the triangle he uses for a nose, sniffing bloodways to the brain. The bloodways are lit up by his eye. On a sudden appearance, he tortures leaves, flays branches, and divides segments the sun has drawn. I do not falter. In the dark, he fortifies. His color is green, to distend him over the earth. He does not fly. You meet him while walking. He is not easily enticed to manifestation, but stony silence, petrified moments, a transfiguration will bring him out, focused on the screen where all transfigured bodies are. You must be humble to his fangs that paw the moonball, dissolving in the space from the corner of your eye. He will trick you otherwise into daylight, where you meet his double while running. By night, the deltas of the moon-spilled planet are stoned under his wriggling light. By day, he chokes the sun. And one last Philip Lamantia poem. It's called The Game. You can find it. So I urge you to check out this volume. We went through the archive and pulled out a bunch of unpublished, uncollected things that nobody's ever seen before. So this is authentic surrealism in American vernacular, the sound of surrealism in American English. Man is in pain. 10 bright balls bat the air, falling through the window on which his double leans. a net the air made to catch the 10 bright balls. Man is a room where the malefic hand turns a knob on the unseen, unknown, doubles door. Man is in pain, with his navel hook caught on a stone quarry, where 10 bright balls chose to land, and where the malefic hand carves on gelatinous air the window to slam shut on his shadow's tail. 10 bright balls bounce into the unseen, unknown double's net. Man is a false window through which his double walks to the truth that falls as 10 bright balls, the malefic hand tossed into the air. Man is in pain, 10 bright spikes nailed to the door. It's Philip Lamantia, a true visionary genius, unheralded. He died in 2005, and he was a friend and mentor, and he's sorely missed. So I'm going to dive into a few of my own. This is from my City Lights book, Transarchive. Atoms have their hive. God, it is to be supposed that man is in pain, spilt into split as sigh unto scythe. Pain is a red scarf, freed from my body and whirled away, a skirl on the wind. As atoms have their hive in have, I have my half forever. For the maker, mirrored equals marred, rhyming ever over ever, quill and quell. What leaf-turned book, what landscape read, red wall of sky, red wall of womb. A man of sorrows knows no series, so the sore rose cannot come to sear ease. Gift of the impossible, total fragment that includes only what excludes itself. Thus, this whisper supports space as a rumor or a room lost within its exact locality. But a sob neither does nor does not resemble a bell, and wants night and light at once. This one's called The Evening of Chances. The leveling of, and you'll hear that the plural of chant is chance, just as the plural of chance is chances. The evening of chances. The leveling of chance is the etching of the evening of irregular glows, the various chases, the chastening love. Pay attention. The, of, is, space, experience, emptiness. No, slower than silence, reward to reword, word, world, world. Frameless, the real is what we cannot look away from. Every cause is an accident, so blue, trembling, awaits its turn. Against begins nudity without body. Blue sister who shows us how to disturb her rest. Revealed in the grain, this deviance grown absolute. Sheets of motion, writing, the blade that bleeds. As the senses multiply, we look away to contemplate. As the rains relate to ruins, as the bells, 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 bells. Can sameness answer its own secret? Here the rains relate to ruins, and a dead tree has walked across the desert. Such pauses repeat, but never return. Structure stretches into content as trace over trance. Let X represent the human cipher in a pose of astonishment. The future past is understood. We will have existed. Understood here means unsheltered, not stood under, similar to a prayer's elongated figure. Cold noise collects in the listening devices, all blues and sciences. And maybe one more from This one's an ABC poem, ABCDarian, which is revealed in the very title. Absolute black continuum. A bowed before. A force first defines difference. B one. C saw. D light. E merge mere germ. F face final line. G ode crystal encrusted stressed structure to chime. H to woe, each to woo the water of thought. I am, wham, wham, who am, hide head. J bird, a word, bared. K bull, charged and buried, list as lost, chill billions, pent rage, repent. L, a mental, metal, untooled, untold. M, pinnacled upon a whirlwind, a voice vehicle, a vast test of heaven. N, O, pen. P, eel, free from form, writing, writhing. Q, bed, the bound of sound, soul solid of air. R, eyes, arise, hour, essay. S, say, hour. T, eat, of the mean of, the meat of, matter and mother. You, too, are two. V, ear, revere. W, double me, melodious labor. X, isle of beauty. A soiled boot, a boat that sails into the sun. Y, not untied, united in the not attained. Z, row of zeros, row of roses and of rows. Okay, and just a couple more here. I know I'm in this magazine somewhere. Oh yes, this is a poem about a cube. It's all these variations of a cube. It's called To the Third Power. The cube is very stable upon the table. The cube is the remnant of a perfect thought. The vertices of the cube both control and conceal its power source. The faces of the cube contain an innumerable swarm of points, ready to rebel against the 8 privileged points that stand at its vertices. The map of the cube shows an ocean at its center. The cube is a continuation of chaos by other means. Each face of the cube sees only its opposite as its mirror self. As if ashamed, the other faces slant away in perspective. The faces of the cube, the phases of the moon. The cube is a box of eyes. The cube is a 6-legged insect trapped in abstraction. The cube is the trumpet of an angular angel. The point at the center of the cube incubates triangles. The cube, as a closed system, is always cooler than its surroundings. The cube is a garment dropped at the door of eternity. The sex of the cube is the number 6. The cube, so rigid in all its relations, reeks of eros. The brace of the cube is the embrace of pyramids. The cube is a citadel standing at the end of history. The cube wants only to rest here. Nature does not want to make a cube. The cube is a necessary accident. The cube is the wreckage of risk. The cube is displayed before royalty as the last of its kind. The cube is commanded into being as formlessness laughs. The cube, in order to be understood, must be floated in midair. An old man walks into a cubical white room and notices his footprints reproduced on the ceiling above. He finds he cannot exit the room. As he paces, the pattern of his steps continues to be traced on the ceiling until it has been completely blackened. He stops and looks up into the pathless black. Hint, there is a mathematical solution to his plight. Just one more from this. Oh, I'm going to read a couple more from Translated. They're short, no worries. The person. But I have only ever seen the person, my counterpart, against the grammatical background of interstellar night. He stands at my door, little realizing the zero of predicate is 1, while the prey of predicate is 2. He will say only the errata, red at war with itself, blue, always the last instance of blue. The person wears a headdress, a dress of thought. The person is male with female characteristics, fallen into atoms of stain and substance. His sin is a cinema of seeming, a body sign of both and neither, meeting, teeming. The person wears what is, a melancholy cloud, my closed system. His signs point backward. His eye wants what it cannot have. Taste, waste, the one without mouth, the eye ever over eye. Icon of the blackness of blankness, icon of the whiteness of witness. Sight eye, seer, O deafened hour, defend ear. My, cold, cold, pyre, a poor evaluator, and alive, a lottery of lit particulars. Because the sun dies in eyes, day is all idea, a phosphorescent nightscape of skin and bone. The start of art is always too soon or too late. My statement corrected, as sonically connected, gives only what cannot not be given, the empty set, once pieced together, the where of wareness, once aware. Depart, part, pay per sun, pay per perishing shadow. Okay, and the last two. This is Earthward. The title is Earthward, as in the direction toward, northward, but earthward. Although I won't discourage you if you heard the fundamental statement of the law of identity, A equals A. And I've all seen those A's as different A's, so the equal sign is like a sign of division to me. A equals A. Mine to ask, a mask, to say, A is not A. No one ever the contrarian to answer. The moon is both divided and multiplied by water, as chance, as the plural of chant. O diver, to be sea-surrounded by a thought bled white, a blankness as likely as blackness. What is the word for getting words and forgetting? Might night right sight? I, too late to relate, I and I, trap light in sound, and sing no thing that breath can bring.